सर्वा परिग्रहा
शरीरं केवलं कर्म
शरीरं केवलं कर्म
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्
निराशीय यथा चित्तात्मा
निराशीर्यत चित्तात्मा
त्यक्तः सर्व परिग्रहा
त्यक्त सर्वा परिग्रहा
शरीरं केवलं कर्म
शरीरं केवलं कर्म
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
What else chant?
निराशीर्यत चित्तात्मा
Niráshya yata chitatma
त्यक्त सर्व परिग्रहा
yakta sarva parigraha
शारीरं केवलं कर्म
shariram kevalam karma
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
noti kilvisham.
निराशीर्यता चित्तात्मा
Niráshya chitatma
त्यक्त सर्वा परिग्रहा
त्यक्त सर्व
sarva parityaha
शरीरं केवलं कर्म
shariram kevalam karma
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
kurvanapnoti kilvisham. Anyone else? Nirashi, without desire for the result.
without
Without
desire for the result.
Yata,
Yata
control.
Control.
Chitta atma,
Chitta
Atma,
mind and intelligence.
mind and intelligence.
Yakta,
Yakta,
Tyakta
giving up.
giving up.
Giving up.
Sarva,
Sarva,
all.
all.
Parigraha,
Parigraha,
Aha.
sense of proprietorship over possessions.
sense of proprietorship.
Shariram,
Shariram,
in keeping body and soul together.
In keeping body and soul together.
Kevalam,
Kevalam,
only.
only.
Karma,
Karma,
work.
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 Kurvan,
Kurvan,
doing.
doing.
Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Apnoti,
Apnoti,
does acquire.
Does acquire.
Ilbisham,
Kilvisham,
sinful reactions.
Sinful reactions.
Now here's the translation. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. So generally, I'm going to, of course, read the purport, but before reading the purport, make some comment. Gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possession and acts only for the bare necessities of life. So he's acting, not really wanting anything, just enough to live. And when you read other in the word for word, without desire for the result, he's not doing it for the result. So he's acting. He's giving up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions. So he's acting. It seems like he does work, but he doesn't get anything for his work. But yet, he's doing it with his mind and intelligence. You might think somebody like that's just not very intelligent. He's just working and somebody's just taking advantage of him. But he's using his intelligence. that's analyzing things in their proper perspective. But he's working for Krishna. I'll read the purport. A Krishna conscious person does not expect good or bad results in his activities. So he does his activities and he doesn't expect good or bad. I mean, generally we do our activities, we're hoping for some good results. And we should all know that the results are not up to us, the results are up to Krishna, but we're hoping to get good results. But even whether we hope, we're not attached. We don't expect, I can get good or I can get bad. It's up to Krishna. It's not up to me at all. And this is for someone who's perfectly in Krishna consciousness, the way they see things. So let's look at Srila Prabhupada. He came here. It was a lot of trouble he went through just to come to America. And you could read in the Leela Amrita to see how difficult it is for him to leave India. They did not want him to go because they didn't have enough people in India. So they didn't want to lose anybody. I don't even understand why they didn't want him. They made it so hard for somebody to leave India. He's an old man, 70 years old, and he wants to leave, and they made it so very, very difficult for him to leave. Not America for him to come. That wasn't the hard part. The hard part was to leave. And then, of course, the ship he had to ride on. I mean, there's so many troubles he went through. But then when he came, he wasn't coming, now I'm going to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. All he was coming is because his guru instructed him to preach to the English-speaking people. And he didn't have any clue. If anything, he thought his result was going to be a failure. Because he saw what are these people are in the mode of ignorance and passion. Nobody is in the mode of goodness. You have to be in the mode of goodness to understand transcendental subject matter. You start from the mode of goodness before you can get to the transcendental platform. So he was, if anything, thinking that it will be a failure, but he had to do it. And then he made a prayer on the boat, on the Jaladuta, that if you want, you can make my words suitable for their understanding. And he also had a very heavy accent. Making his words suitable may be one thing, and then how are people even going to understand him with his heavy accent? It was very difficult to understand Prabhupada at first. I remember when I couldn't understand his tapes. We would listen to a tape every day, and I never knew what he was saying. I'd get a few words here and there. And I mentioned to the devotees that I don't understand. He's got a very heavy accent. And they said, when you get purified, you'll understand. I said, it's got nothing to do with purification. It's his accent. They said, no, when you get purified, you'll be able to understand. So I didn't argue with him. I thought it was his accent, but I can understand now. So I don't know if it means I got purified or I just starting to understand the Indian accent. But he came, and the results, he said, you can make me a success or failure as you like, whatever you want. I'm your puppet. Make me dance, oh Lord, make me dance as you like. So this is the devotee. This is the pure devotee. Now we want to be successful, but we want to be, I'm sure he wanted to be successful too, but that didn't matter what he wanted. It's what Krishna wanted. That's what mattered. Now, you might ask, at least I would ask, why would Krishna, even said, why did you bring me here to this, this place? Why have you brought me here? He didn't think he went there. Krishna brought him here. So you might ask, you got me doing this service. You must have some reason for it, whatever it is. Maybe because from here you're going to send me somewhere else. I don't know, but whatever you like, I'm willing to do it. And the results are up to you. So this is the attitude of a devotee. So now how does it practically apply to your life? Anybody have any ways it practically applies to your life? So it's just theoretical. It sounds nice. Can someone take a guess? Is it possible to apply it to your life? Okay, we'll go on to the next verse. It's very practical. It's very simple. You know, we may still be attached to results, but we should at least, using our intelligence and our mind, realize that we shouldn't be attached and to try to become detached. I think especially when you're doing some service for Krishna, you know, direct service. Like if you're out on book distribution, you should want to distribute books, but you have to pray to Krishna, and you also have to say to Krishna, the goal isn't even for me to distribute books. The goal is for me to try to distribute books. It's up to you whether I distribute books or not. So you have to try to keep that goal. That's practically applying this in your life, because sometimes you get attached. You want to distribute, you don't distribute, you get upset. You can't stand these people. I know I've had some experiences like that from being attached to the results. So you can't be attached. Whatever happens, happens. You just make the effort. You have to try. And you have to try your hardest. You can't just try like mediocre. Oh, hey, ma'am, take one of these. It's a really nice book. And they're just walking by. Mister, would you like a book? If you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to make an effort. Hey, where you coming in from? You got to put everything you got into it. You got to make that effort. In any service, I'm just giving book distribution as an example. Because in book distribution, it's easier to see how by actually surrendering is not just externally doing this, but it's externally doing it with the desire to try to help these people, with the desire to try to please Srila Prabhupada by selling his books, you know, and at the same time, not be attached because the results aren't up to you. And in trying to distribute Prabhupada's books is probably I can't say it's the best way, but I think it's the best way to practice this Krishna consciousness, practice not being attached to the results. How does it make you feel when you approach 100 people and every one of them says no? Are you discouraged? Most people will get discouraged. But if you're not attached, you're just doing what Krishna wants. You're making the effort, you're trying. Then it's a success. Results aren't really judged by external, like how many books. We do judge that way also, but it's not really the way Krishna judges. It's how much we're surrendered, how much when we're working really hard and not being attached to the results. So before I go on, does anyone have any questions? I doubt it. You didn't even have any idea of how you can apply not being attached to results to your life. I'm not saying you're going to do it, but at least you could theoretically, philosophically understand how it can be done. To apply it is different, but at least understanding how you can apply it, that you should know. And sometimes it's more difficult to apply. Just like I said, you approach 100 people and they all say no. Some people, most people will get discouraged. But a Krishna conscious person would not. He might think of other ways, what I can do. What can I do to make people take these books? He has to use his intelligence. Okay. His mind and intelligence are fully controlled. He knows that because he is part and parcel of the Supreme, the part played by him as a part and parcel of the whole is not his own activity, but is only being done through him by the Supreme. I'm a little part of a machine, and I'd have to do this to make the machine function nicely. And he thinks that way. I'm just doing my part. I don't even know what the whole machine is, but I know what my part is, and I'm going to do that. So the results, I may not see the results on my little part of the machine, but the results will be there somewhere else. Okay. The part played by him as part and parcel of the whole is not his own activity, but only being done through him by the Supreme. When the hand moves, it does not move out of its own accord. The whole, out of its, that does not move out of its own accord, but by the endeavor of the whole body. So my hand is moving. I'm just practicing getting ready for magic shows. I haven't done them in a long time. So my hand moves, but how does it move? It doesn't just, your hand doesn't just start moving. Get back here, get back here. Your hand works according to the whole body. So the devotee is fully surrendered to God, surrendered to Krishna. He works according to Krishna's plan. Just as whatever Krishna wants, he just does. He knows he's just part and parcel. I mean, it's a very advanced position. We may not be able to do it right now, but at least we should theoretically understand how it would be if I was doing it, and at least practice sometime doing it when you're doing some devotional service, especially some kind of preaching, trying to convince devotees or people to become devotees. You know, how can I do this? But not be attached. But I'm doing it for Krishna. The results are up to Krishna. We have to, one devotee once said, which I like a lot, we have to act as if the results were up to us. But we have to know that the results are up to Krishna. But if we act as if the results are up to us, then we're going to work really hard. But if, you know, so sometimes devotees may act, the results are up to Krishna and not try very hard. That's not Krishna consciousness. That part has to work as hard as it possibly can in order to please Krishna. A Krishna conscious person is always dovetailed with the supreme desire. So it's whatever Krishna desires. He's dovetailed with that desire. He acts according to whatever that desire is. For he has no desire for personal sense gratification. He doesn't want anything for himself, sense gratification. Doesn't care about satisfying the desires of the body. Doesn't care if he lives or dies. Whatever Krishna wants. If Krishna wants me to live, then no one can kill me. If Krishna wants me to die, no one can save me. Whatever Krishna wants, that's what I want. He moves exactly like a part of a machine. Part of the machine just works and serves the whole machine. As a machine part requires oiling and cleaning for maintenance, so a Krishna conscious man maintains himself by his work just to remain fit for action in transcendental loving service of the Lord. So you have to take care of the machine. You have to take care of the parts of the machine. You have to oil them, grease them, whatever it may be. So you also have to take care of this body, and you have to keep it fit by doing some physical work. It even says, I don't know what chapter, but in the Bhagavad Gita, might be coming up or may have just been here already, where you even can't even maintain your body without work. Physically, you have to work, or your body will just be a lump of flesh. You don't do anything, no muscle. You have to work. You have to do something physical. And this goes specifically to the computer programmers. They have to do more than just program computers. They have to do something physical with their body. Of course, a lot of people who work in offices and don't do much physical, they actually go to the gym and work out. But you have to do something just to keep your body fit. He is therefore immune to the reactions of his endeavors. He's immune to the reactions of his endeavor. Whatever reactions doesn't matter. It's in here. Prabhupada, this is so amazing. Prabhupada gives this example, which most people will not like. Like an animal, he has no proprietorship even over his own body. A cruel proprietor of an animal sometimes kills the animal in his possession, yet the animal does not protest. And he's telling us we should be like an animal and just listen to whatever our master says. Is that what Prabhupada is saying? Anybody have an answer? I can't hear you. What?
No.
No?
No.
What is he saying?
He has to be immune to reaction, but he has to act.
What?
He has to be immune to the reactions, but he has to act. It is not like animals. Even if they are being killed, they are not protesting. So we have to protest, but we do not have to act like an animal, but we have to be immune to the reactions.
No, we don't act like an animal, but just like an animal, whatever the proprietor wants, even if it's to kill us, we don't object. In other words, you're seeing this as a material sense. A cruel proprietor of an animal sometimes kills the animal in his possession, yet the animal does not protest, nor does it have any real independence. And then a Krishna conscious person, fully engaged in self-realization, has very little time for time to falsely possess any material object. Basically, even like an animal, if Krishna wants us to die, we don't object. Why do we object? We're going to die anyway. Every one of us is going to die sooner or later. So if Krishna wants to kill us, that we just see it as Krishna's come to take us back. I'm talking about a Krishna conscious person sees it that way. And we're like an animal, whatever he wants. He's the proprietor. This body belongs to him. Whatever he wants to do with this body, I have no objection. You know, in the conditions, first of all, there's a big difference between this person who owns an animal and kills the animal and Krishna. Krishna's just looking for our well-being, our happiness. Not only our ultimate happiness in the spiritual world, even in the material world. He doesn't want his devotees to be distressed. You know, he wants his devotees to be happy. So he's not a cruel master that's going to torture or kill his animals. But we should be in that mentality that I am like his animal, his slave. He can do with me as he likes. That's the attitude of the acharyas. They don't think that you can do with me as you like only as far as this goes. But when it comes to that, then I don't want you to do anything. No, it's anything. I'm yours. I'm a part of the machine. You're the whole machine. You're working the whole machine. Prabhupada sometimes says that you have to work, you have to serve as if in military discipline. So military discipline is your commanding officer tells you to go charge, run up this hill and try to kill these people up there, whatever they may be. Japs, Chinese, Russians, Koreans, as long as they're not Americans, then it's okay. So you have to do what they say. Military discipline. That's, you go. If somebody tells you to run up a hill and start shooting at these people who are shooting at you, you tell them, go run up the hill yourself, you know. I'm not going to run up the hill, but in the military, you just do it. That's military discipline. And that's the way Prabhupada says devotional service should be executed. Your authority tells you to do something, you just do it. You can question your authority. You make sure it's you know, that they understand everything you know, that, or at least you understand certain things. But so as Prabhupada says things sometimes it may be difficult to swallow, but that's and we don't have to actually be at that platform artificially. We're not at it, but we should at least theoretically or philosophically understand it, how we should be. So I'll read some more. I don't even remember where I left off. Like an animal, he has no proprietorship even over his own body. A cruel proprietor of an animal sometimes kills the animal in his possession, yet the animal does not protest. So we should be like Krishna's animal, like Krishna's dog. Even Prabhupada said, I am Krishna's dog. So that's what I mean, we don't see that, but he's seeing that. And whatever Krishna wants is fine. Nor does it have any real independence. We don't have any real independence. What are we independent? We're controlled by material nature. Our independence is, who do we want to be controlled by, Krishna or Maya? That's our independence. You have no independence. You can't do anything you want to do. Totally dependent on God. So a Krishna conscious person, fully engaged in self-realization, has very little time to falsely possess any material object. For maintaining body and soul, he does not require unfair means of accumulating money. He does not therefore become contaminated by such material sins. He is free from all reactions to his activity. Because he's doing everything for Krishna. There's no material reaction. And he goes back home, back to Godhead. So I think for practical, because I like to try to be practical, is we have to just practically understand this and try as hard as we can to follow this here as much as we could. And then as much as we're willing to do. We may not be willing to do it completely, but at least understand it, that that's a very high, elevated position. And if we get to that position, there's no question about going back to Godhead. We're already back to Godhead. We're doing everything for Krishna. Okay, hey, what do we got here? Oh, it's not much time. Anyone have any questions or comments?
So Prabhuji, you said it is Krishna's mercy or his decision whether we are going to live or die. But still, sometimes we pray for the well-being of devotees, family members, acquaintances, friends, right? So is it doing that is not correct? Because it's Krishna's decision, right? Even if I pray, if he has already decided the person is going to die, being a devotee or a non-devotee, so where does my prayer stand?
Prayer is not wasted. He may let the person live. If devotees are praying for the person to live, he may let them live a little longer. Your prayers are not in vain. Sometimes Krishna will listen to your prayers and say, okay, let him stay a little longer. So, but should we be doing that? I think it's natural for somebody that's very dear to us, if they're dying, please let them live a little longer, or depends on who it is. If it's a very old person who's suffering like anything, you don't really, why do you want them to live a little longer? Let them go back to you. Please take him back. Please let him go back to you. Pray for his spiritual life. If it's a young person, please let him live, because we are in the bodily concept of life. Prabhupada said, what is the difference if he's 5 years old or 90 years old? What's the difference if he dies at 5 or dies at 90? What's the difference? Now that's totally spiritual, because all he's seeing is the soul. He's not seeing the body. What the heck is the difference? He's got this body, that doesn't matter. He's still the same person. He's still the same soul. Why? But for us, because we have material bodily consciousness, it makes a difference. So should we pray? I kind of think from most of us, for somebody very close to us, I think it's a natural thing to do. I don't think it's the highest thing. I just read, or Jiva just read today, when Prabhupada got a telegram from India. This is like in 1967 or something. It's very early. And they brought it to his door, and he said, thank you. And he said, aren't you going to read it? So he read it, and he said, it's good news. And they said, what? He said, my sister just passed away. And they didn't understand how that was good news. And then he said, because she was a devotee of Krishna, so she went back to Krishna, so it's good news. But then after a while, he had some tears in his eyes. He was crying too, that his sister passed away. But he's first seeing it transcendentally. Both things are there. We have affection, the natural objects of affection, but at the same time, we have to try to see the soul and not the body. Because you have other examples. Okay, Uttara, she prayed, let this Brahmastra kill me, but let it save my son. Now, she wanted to save her son because not just because it's her son, but he's the last ruler of the dynasty. He's the last one. What happens if he goes? So that's still material, but it's much greater. It's the whole world she's considering, not just her offspring. And she didn't even care even if it killed her. But don't let it kill my baby. And then there's others when there was a kirtan. I don't remember whose house, somebody can tell me. And I think it was Shivananda's Sain's son passed away. Young boy passed away during the kirtan. And someone was crying, and his wife was crying and making a big deal about it. I don't know why. I mean, it's so natural. How can you not make a big deal? Your son just died. And he said something to her, about why you're making such a mess. Lord Chaitanya, we're trying to have a nice kirtan or something, and you lamented. And then Lord Chaitanya found out and brought the child back to life. But the point is, even his own son died, and he didn't want that to interfere with Lord Chaitanya's kirtan. And that's like almost impossible to understand for anyone who is not on the liberated platform. But they see they're the soul. What difference does it make? Okay, such and such changed her dress. So what's the big deal? You're wearing a different dress. But she had a blue dress on. Now she's got a red dress on. So, but don't you see? The blue dress isn't there anymore. What's the difference? It's just a dress. And someone on a spiritual platform sees this body is just a dress. And it's endlessly mutable. It's always changing. It's imperceptible, the changes. But just like we went to was Rinda's birthday party, and I saw Krishangi, and she got so much taller. Now, I'm sure her parents didn't notice, wow, she's so much taller. You're seeing her every day. I didn't see her for like a year and a half or something. It's like, wow, she's got. So it's imperceptible if you every single day the changes of the body you don't notice. But then once in a while, if you haven't looked in a mirror for a long time and you look in the mirror, it's like, oh my God, what happened? I've had that experience. But the body is always changing, and we're going to leave the body. And I don't want to leave this body. As bad as it is, I'm still attached to it. But I gotta go sometime. I hope. I don't know where I'm going. All I can do is hope for the best. And I know it's better than what I have now, because I know I made some spiritual progress in this life. And even if it's not enough to go back to Godhead, at least I'll be in a devotee family somewhere. Or maybe the heavenly planets for a while, then devotee family. I'm not sure where I'm going.
Pyari Prabhuji, it's not Shivananda Sen, it's Srivas Pandit.
Srivas, sorry. Yeah, I wasn't sure whose house Srivas.
It was when they were having Kirtan, and he said, if you don't keep quiet, I'm going to jump in the Ganga, like he threatened his wife. And then they all had to shut their mouth, and they were quietly crying. And then afterwards, Mahaprabhu said, something is wrong, so I can feel it. And then he will explain. And he said, such a person, Mahaprabhu had teared in his eyes, and he said, how can I leave such people? And they couldn't understand why he was saying that. But soon after that, he took sannyas and he left Navadvip, so he was saying, how can I leave such loving people? Like he was very emotional about it. So that whole pastime. And then Mahaprabhu brings the child back to life. And then there is like Chhatraketu Maharaj, the little boy says, which father, which mother, and all that same conversation in Bhagavatam. And then he says, let me depart, let me go to my next destination. And then they go and cremate the body, and they have a big kirtan again, they have a festival. So that was the whole pastime.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. Well, the point was how can you not,
cry? Yeah.
But they were so much in love with Lord Chaitanya, and they saw things in the transcendental platform, and it's very difficult to see it. But we have to at least know it and practice and try. We have to make the effort. In other words, we have to make a conscious effort to see things this way. It's not just going to happen automatically without doing anything. We have to try. At least read and try to understand it. Try to understand how I should be. And if we have an opportunity, pray to Krishna, please help for me to be on the transcendental platform. And Krishna will test us when we're ready. Okay, any other questions, comments? 15 minutes left. Somebody's got to fill it up.
Pyari Prabhu, I have one question.
Yes.
So, Uttara, she prayed to Lord Krishna when Parshit Maharaj was in her womb and Brahmastra was coming closer. But then Draupadi, when she was disrobed, she first tried from her side to save herself, and she asked the other people in the assembly also to help her, right? And then finally, when she couldn't do it, she gave up. So my question is, so we should we be like Draupadi, or should we be like Uttara? Just immediately you surrender, or you try for yourself first, then surrender?
Yes.
Both?
Well, I was trying to avoid the answer. I don't think either of them were wrong. Even Draupadi, she was trying to protect herself. She didn't just surrender, but when she realized she couldn't, she had no other choice, and she completely surrendered to Krishna. She didn't try to protect herself at all. So I think that's probably the natural thing, is you do what you can. Everyone should do what they can. Okay, it's like the building's on fire. Well, should I leave, or should I just wait and see if Krishna takes me out of here? There was a story about that. It wasn't a building, it was a flood, and in a town, and the boat came up to try to get people from their houses. And one guy is in the house, his basement is flooded, but he's in the house. They said, come on, it may flood more. He said, no, God is going to save me. He told me he's going to save me. So then he's in the house, and the flood waters come up. It's up to the second floor. Another boat comes. This one is a motorboat. The first one was a rowboat. The motorboat comes and says, get on. He said, no, God is going to save me. And then it gets even higher. He's up on the roof. He's on the roof, and the water's coming, and they have a helicopter, and they send down a thing, and he said, no, God is going to save me. And then he dies. He drowns. And then he sees God, and he tells God, God, I thought you said you were going to save me. He said, I sent 2 boats and a helicopter. What more do you want me to do? That's not a true story. But that's like, we have to use our intelligence. We have to do what we can to protect ourselves and protect our family members. That's our duty. We have to do that. But at the same time, the results are up to Krishna. When we see we do everything we can, and it doesn't work out the way we want it to, then we have to accept. Draupadi did whatever she could, and then when it didn't work out, she just gave up. That's it. And then Krishna, hey, but she didn't just give up, hey, that's it. She said, hey, Krishna, hey, Govinda. And Krishna became unlimited sorry. So I think you have to do both. And I think that's kind of a natural thing to do both. But when you come to the point of realizing that you can't do it yourself, it's out of your hand, you did everything you could, then you just have to pray to Krishna. Krishna, it's up to you. If you can tell me something else that you want me to try, I'm willing to try it, but I can't think of anything else I could possibly do. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yes,
I have
actually,
a co-
yeah. Go ahead, Madhu.
I have a comment, Prabhuji. What you said is absolutely correct. But see, Draupadi tried other strategies. She asked the elders, she talked to Bhishma, Drona,
right.
and that was the right thing to do. But in
Right.
Uttara's case, nobody can stop a Brahmastra. It's fire and brim,
Right.
like only God can save. It's a
Right.
life and death situation. There's nobody else. She can't ask somebody else, can you stop the Brahmastra? Nobody else has the power. But in Draupadi's case, the elders could have intervened and said, don't do it, it's wrong to do it. They all
Right.
sat silently and watched the drama. They did not
Right.
intervene for whatever their reasons were. Bhishma didn't say anything, Drona didn't say anything, Dhritarashtra didn't say anything, and all these were elders of the Kurus. So she tried her best in every which way. And then
Right.
finally she said, I have no strength against this brutal man. And then she gave up. But she did try. And that is what everybody should do. But in Uttara's
Right.
case, who can try to stop the Brahmastra? That's an impossible task for any human being. So only God can do it. So that's the difference between the two scenarios.
Well, that's one difference. It's a fact. Draupadi did everything she could, and that's what you should do. You try. But Uttara, it's a fact. You can't stop the Brahmastra, so, but she could have just accepted it too. What about what's his name? Judd Barth. They took him and they're going to sacrifice him. He was a really strong guy. He could have ran away. He could have fought with them. He didn't do anything. He just accepted it. So what's the right thing to do?
But see, it was only his life in danger. Sorry. See,
Okay.
Uttara, like you said, the whole dynasty is hanging on, there is nobody to rule the kingdom. The Pandavas are done for.
Right.
So the whole war will be in vain. There won't be any ruler for the kingdom. Whereas in Jad Bharat's case, it's only him. It's a single individual. It doesn't affect anybody else.
That's a good point. But at the same time, it's all material. When do you draw it? If it's more people, or it's a bigger percentage, then I should ask God. Doesn't God know what's going on already? Do I have to actually ask him? I mean, I think with Uttara, it was a pastime. It wasn't like she had a choice. She did what she had to do, and she's fully surrendered to Krishna. You know, it's like there's so many reasons why people do things. So I think Krishna is saying they're both fine. But that's a good point about Judd Bart. I don't know who else was saving others or not saving others. Can't think of any other instance, because Uttara didn't care if she died, just caring about a baby. But I think that's even natural for most mothers. They don't, they, you know, if they got, somebody has to die, let me die, not my child. I mean, that seems like a natural thing for any mother. Not any mother, because today some mothers are so horrible, but for a normal mother. So if there's a Brahmastra coming, then it's okay to pray to Krishna.
Yes, what I was thinking is like it depends on the situation. Like Uttara had a situation that completely different from Draupadi. So, and until unless we can try from our side, we can try and then surrender once you can't.
I mean, for Draupadi, I think, I'm not positive, but I think to be killed would be less pain than being disrobed. Being such a from high, it's hard for us, at least it's hard for me in one sense to understand. Okay, so you see a person naked, what's the big deal? You know, whereas killing them, that's really bad. But herself, I think it would have been less pain to just be killed. You know, because they come from such a culture, very high culture, where women are protected, and you know, it's so bad. Yeah, what they did was so bad. And even then, you know, why is it Bhishma? They're fully surrendered. He's a fully surrendered soul. He didn't say anything. So ultimately, I see it as Krishna's arrangement for Draupadi to call out to him. Krishna felt like doing something, some magic trick. They keep pulling the sari and it never ends. Yeah, that would be a good trick I could do somehow. I'm thinking of ways I can do it now too. Okay, any other questions or comments? Well, I'd like to thank all of you for coming on, and for 3 of you turning on your videos. Special thanks to you 3. Thanks to all of you, but special. It's like really a real surrender. Anyway, so we're going to end a few minutes early, so you can take prasadam. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Pyari Mohan Prabhu ki jai.
Sudevi Priya ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.